You know, there's something truly special about reaching your 80s. You've lived through decades of change, gathered wisdom, and probably have more than a few stories to tell. But let's be honest. Sometimes, as the years go by, it can feel like your circle of friends gets smaller. People move away, life changes, and suddenly, you might find yourself wishing for a few more good friends to share a laugh or a cup of tea with. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something important. Making new friends after 80 isn't just possible. It can actually be a lot easier than you think. And the best part, it doesn't require anything complicated. No fancy technology, no exhausting social marathons, just simple, meaningful ways to connect with others. That's why today, we're talking about 5 surprisingly easy ways to make new friends after 80. These aren't just random tips. They're real, practical, and most importantly, they've worked for others just like you. So, whether you're looking for someone to chat with, share a hobby, or just enjoy a quiet afternoon together, stick around. You might be surprised at how simple it can be. Now, let's start with the first way. And this one is so natural, you might already be doing it without realizing its power. It's all about embracing the everyday conversations. You see, friendship doesn't always start with grand gestures. Sometimes, it's the little moments. The chat with the neighbor while checking the mail, the kind word to the cashier at the grocery store, or even a smile to someone at the park. These small interactions might seem insignificant, but they're like planting seeds. You never know which one might grow into a real friendship. For example, take my friend Margaret. She told me that for years, she'd exchange a few words with the same woman every morning at the local cafe. Just a good morning here, a comment about the weather there. Then one day, the woman asked if Margaret wanted to join her for breakfast. That was 5 years ago, and now they meet every week. All it took was being open to those everyday moments. So the next time you're out and about, try slowing down just a little. Make eye contact, offer a genuine compliment, or ask a simple question like, "How's your day going?" You'll be amazed at how many people light up when given the chance to connect. Now, the second way to make new friends is by revisiting an old love. Hobbies. Think about it. When you were younger, what did you enjoy? Painting, gardening. Maybe you loved to dance or play cards. Well, those hobbies aren't just activities. They're golden opportunities to meet people who already share something in common with you. Local community centers, senior groups, and even libraries often have clubs or classes tailored for seniors. And here's the beautiful thing. When you're doing something you love, the conversation flows naturally. You're not forcing small talk. You're bonding over something meaningful. Take George, for instance. He'd always loved woodworking but hadn't picked up a tool in years. Then he heard about a weekly workshop at the community center. At first, he was nervous. Would he fit in? Would anyone talk to him? But within a few weeks, he wasn't just building birdhouses. He was swapping stories and laughter with a whole new group of friends. So, ask yourself, what's something you've always enjoyed? Or maybe something you've wanted to try? Find a local group or class and take that first step. You might just find friendship waiting for you there. Now, before we move on to the next ways, I want you to think about this. Friendship isn't about quantity, it's about quality. You don't need a crowd, just a few good hearts to share life with. And the best part? The next 3 ways we'll explore are just as simple and rewarding as these first 2. So, let's keep going, because life's too short not to fill it with good company. You know, one of the most beautiful things about friendship is that it often blooms in the most unexpected places. And sometimes, all it takes is a little willingness to step outside your usual routine. That brings us to the third way to make new friends after 80. Volunteering. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Volunteering. At my age. But hear me out. Because this isn't about adding stress or obligation to your life. It's about sharing what you already have in abundance: your time, your experience, and your kindness. Think about it. When you volunteer, you're automatically surrounded by people who care about the same things you do. Whether it's helping at a local food bank, reading to children at the library, or even tending to a community garden, you're joining a group of like-hearted folks. And that shared purpose? It's a shortcut to connection. Take my friend Helen, for example. After her husband passed, she felt a loneliness she couldn't shake. Then her granddaughter mentioned that the animal shelter needed volunteers to help socialize older cats. Helen wasn't sure at first. She'd never been much of a cat person. But within a few weeks, she wasn't just bonding with the animals. She'd struck up friendships with 2 other volunteers. Now, they meet for coffee every Tuesday after their shift, all because she said yes to trying something new. The key here is to choose something that feels light and enjoyable, not another chore. Look for opportunities that align with what you already love, or something you've always been curious about. And remember, even giving just an hour or 2 a week can open doors to meaningful connections. Now, let's talk about the 4th way: technology. I can almost hear some of you sighing. Oh, not those smartphones again. But stick with me, because this isn't about becoming a tech wizard overnight. It's about using simple tools to stay close to the people who matter, and maybe even meet new ones. These days, there are so many easy ways to connect online. Video calls with family, Facebook groups for hobbies, or even apps like Meetup, where you can find local events for seniors. You don't have to figure it all out alone either. Libraries often have free classes, or maybe a grandchild can show you the basics over tea one afternoon. My neighbor Frank swore he'd never touch a computer. Then his old army buddies started reconnecting through a veterans group online. His daughter helped him set up a profile, and now he video chats with friends from basic training every Sunday. Some even live nearby, and they've started meeting up for breakfast. The trick is to start small. Maybe ask a friend or family member to help you send your first email, or join a group about gardening or classic movies. Before you know it, you might find yourself chatting with someone across the country, or right down the street, who shares your passions. And here's something important to remember. Making friends later in life isn't about replacing the people you've loved and lost. It's about adding new threads to the tapestry of your life. Every laugh shared, every story exchanged, it all weaves together into something warm and vibrant. Now, we've covered 4 wonderful ways to connect so far: everyday conversations, hobbies, volunteering, and technology. But there's one more way I'm especially excited to share with you, because it's perhaps the most powerful of all, and it's something every single one of us can do, starting today. But we'll save that for the next part, because this journey isn't just about finding friends. It's about rediscovering the joy of being truly seen and appreciated at any age. So let's keep going, shall we? After all, the best chapters of our lives are often the ones we haven't written yet. You know, there's a saying that goes, "Friendship is the only cement that will ever hold the world together." And isn't that the truth? At every stage of life, but especially as we grow older, having someone to share a story with, a quiet moment, or even just a knowing smile can make all the difference. That brings us to our 5th and final way to make new friends after 80, and it's one that might surprise you. Be the one who reaches out first. Now, I know that can feel a little intimidating. What if they say no? What if it's awkward? But here's something I've learned over the years. Most people are just waiting for someone else to make the first move. Think about it. How many times have you thought, "I'd love to get to know them better," but hesitated, assuming they might be too busy or not interested? Chances are, they've had the same thought about you. So how do you start? It can be as simple as saying, "I've enjoyed our chats. Would you like to join me for coffee sometime?" Or maybe inviting someone to tag along to that community concert or book club you've been meaning to check out. My friend Evelyn told me she made one of her closest friends later in life by mustering the courage to say, "I'm new to this exercise class. Would you want to be my walking buddy afterward?" That was 10 years ago, and they still walk together every Thursday. The beauty of this approach is that it puts you in the driver's seat. Instead of waiting for friendship to come to you, you're gently steering your life toward connection. And even if it doesn't lead to a deep bond right away, you'll never regret being the person who spread a little kindness and openness into the world. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a quick moment to revisit all 5 of these wonderfully simple ways to make new friends. First, embrace those everyday conversations. You never know where a simple hello might lead. Second, revisit old hobbies, or try new ones in group settings where connection happens naturally. Third, consider volunteering. It's a beautiful way to meet people while making a difference. Fourth, don't shy away from technology as a tool to bridge distances and discover new circles. And finally, be brave enough to extend the first invitation. Because friendship often blooms when someone is willing to plant that first seed. I want to leave you with this thought. Making friends after 80 isn't about filling some imaginary quota or proving anything to anyone. It's about continuing to live a life rich with connection, laughter, and the quiet understanding that comes from knowing someone truly sees you. Every new friend is another thread in the tapestry of your remarkable story, a story that's still being written with every conversation, every shared cup of tea, every moment of genuine connection. So why not start today? Pick one of these ideas that resonates with you and give it a try. And I'd love to hear how it goes. Drop a comment below sharing your experiences or your own tips for making friends later in life. After all, this isn't just my conversation. It's ours. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps others find this video too. And if you're not subscribed yet, well, consider this your personal invitation to join our little community here. We've got plenty more conversations like this one coming your way. Remember, age isn't a limit on friendship. It's just a number. Here's to your next chapter, being filled with wonderful new faces, heartfelt conversations, and the kind of companionship that makes every day a little brighter. After all, isn't that what living well is all about?